class cabin service. And when you have the larger aircraft, obviously you have better airfares, and we've seen our airfares go down. 23, I actually was SDF, and just think about it, SDF was the fastest growing airport in North America in the first 2 quarters. We don't want to rest on our laurels, so we're saying, well, how can we top 2023? And capacity for 2024 is up 13%. So we think we're going to blow 2023 away. And there's this whole thing called Derby 150 coming. We actually had some challenges last year keeping up with the growth. We had some weather. We put a whole new plan in place. We added 2 checkpoint lines to keep up the capacity. We worked with the airlines to have more departure lift on Monday, so it's not all on Sunday. And then again, thinking about probably the busiest Derby ever, we're saying, what can we do to get people here? The airlines have loaded their schedules. We got 16 new cities just for Derby, 34,000 seats for Monday through Friday. And let me see here, I think 27,000 seats on Sunday and Monday after Derby. So it is going to be a really, really, really busy airport and a great Derby 150, we believe. So looking forward to that. Now, with all this new traffic, obviously our facilities are stretched. And so about mid 2018, I was very optimistic that we were going to grow that airport. I mean, I thought it was an untapped resource. And so we started saying, what can we do to invest in our facilities? We've got an $800 million terminal and airfield renovation program underway right now. We spent about $150 million so far. We've got the 10 checkpoint addition, TSA checkpoint addition, our biggest bottleneck, $40 million. And then I hear all the time, gosh, it'd be great to have international service. So we are now planning for a FIS, which is our customs facility. It'll be state-of-the-art, 2 gates, probably start with less than daily. But when you start thinking about Derby and international traffic, we know if we have the FIS, we'll have some international traffic just for Derby. So we're working on that. And then obviously UPS, our number one part of the reason we were able to grow through the pandemic is because UPS is such a great partner. We're investing in the airfield too, so they can continue to grow and meet the demands in the future. And then the last part, sustainability. When you're growing in your airport, you say sustainability, really, we kind of got to focus on that. And so we have the largest geothermal facility in North America at an airport. It's great for the environment to reduce our carbon footprint. We're working on a goal to be carbon neutral by 2050. This geothermal, what really gets my attention is it lasts about twice as long, it's easier to maintain, and it saves me about $400,000 a year in my utility costs. So it's a win-win-win. We're working on a microgrid right now, which will be battery backup and solar. Also reduces our utility costs as well. So that's great things happening. We can't do it without you. I say if you got a trip, you got a family coming to town, check out the airport. I bet we can take care of you. Airfare's down, more capacity, more options. Thank you. Oh. I think now everybody can socialize a little bit, and food's going to be served shortly.
Hey, do we want to do it right now? We want to do it right now. You want to do it right now? We can always ask.
Come over in a couple minutes yet. Good idea. Check it, check.
How are y'all? Yeah. How do you want to? You have a what? Okay.
All right, all good.
That angle's going to show how much hair I don't have. So I'll push it up there. Okay.
If you were in the conference committee and the chair said, What do we need to add that we forgot? What would you tell them?
Well, while the Senate version of the budget is better, restoring necessary dollars to Medicaid and a number of other programs, we cannot have a state budget unless it includes raises for our public school educators and at least strongly considers universal pre-K. We are number 3 in economic development in the country. We were number 2 right before that. We are in the biggest, best economic development win streak of our lifetimes. But to keep it going, we absolutely must have the compensation structure for our public school educators that will ensure the type of education that our kids need. Tennessee did it last session. Indiana did it last session, is going to do more of it this session. Those are what our competitors are doing. We have to meet the moment and get that in the budget.
Do you have any thoughts on House Bill 5, the Safer Kentucky Act? Do you plan to veto it or sign it?
Well, I haven't seen the most recent changes in House Bill 5. There's certainly some parts of it that I think are welcome, like having a specific carjacking statute so that we can track the frequency and where. But certainly some concerns on homelessness, on wanting to at least first provide people help. Now, any time where anything gets violent, certainly that's where the criminal justice system should come in. So I'm going to look very carefully over it when we get it. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that our communities are truly safer based on any legislation we pass. The other piece to that, though, is we expect if House Bill 5 becomes law, there's going to be a significant increase in corrections costs. Our budget does not include those, and there's an actual limitation for what overruns can be without calling a special session of the General Assembly. So if they're going to ask the executive branch to house more inmates, they're going to need to provide the funding to do it. Remind me, there's a House Bill 2 every year. The constitutional amendment. I fully and entirely oppose a constitutional amendment that would send public dollars to private schools. Public dollars are for public schools, period. And for decades, our General Assembly has been underfunding our public schools. Basically, they starve our public schools of the resources they need and then argue our public schools aren't succeeding. Well, if you want to fix public schools, provide them the money that will help with that fix. I mean, our teachers alone are 44th in starting teacher pay and 40th in average teacher pay. And then our General Assembly wants to compare our public education systems to other states. Come on, step up, provide the funding. Our public school educators are ready to make this work. Now, I will work day in and day out to defeat that constitutional amendment at the ballot box, and the people of Kentucky are going to vote it down.
In regards to the NCAA tournament, what are your thoughts on this being the first time Kentuckians can legally bet on the tournament in the state?
That Kentucky
Can legally bet on the NCAA tournament.
Man, it just means that a whole bunch of people aren't going to be betting illegally on the NCAA tournament. What we see from sports betting is obviously people are doing it a lot. And this pulls it into a regulated system that is safer, that can be monitored, and hopefully people can step in before it goes too far. But the other thing we're seeing is Kentuckians think it's fun. And it's something they wanted to do, and we're traveling to other states. So what I'd say is do it responsibly. Please bet on your in-state schools or bet against Duke, one of the two or both. But I hope people enjoy this NCAA tournament.
Back to the budget really quickly. You mentioned things that are missing from it. Are there any line items currently that are in there that you're concerned about, that you would consider line items?
Most of the additions that I've seen are positive additions and are welcome. There are a lot of things that were in my initial budget, not in the House, that the Senate restored. They have more money for renovations of career and technical education facilities in our high schools, which are needed. With all this new technology coming in, all these new industries, or at least the next step in so many industries, now is the time to make those investments. There's some other programs in there I want to learn more about, but in the end, if they add programs and talk to us about it and talk with us about the goals, then we will do our best to make them successful. No plan for child care will work without universal pre-K. Universal pre-K is the only plan, and it's just part of the solution, that would resolve it most of the day, most of the year for every 4-year-old in Kentucky. That's 25% of the challenge right there. It's the only plan that would provide relief in child care deserts, where none of these dollars are going to actually create new facilities. So if you have universal pre-K, which is about $180 million, 34,000 extra Kentucky kids will get pre-K services. A large portion of those aren't in child care right now. My budget then provided about $180 million to child care to make the transition from serving 4-year-olds. I think it was about 8,000 federally funded child care slots have 4-year-olds in them right now that could have 3-year-olds or 2-year-olds. And so that already opens up more slots. We know that if we truly want to make a difference, the most cost-effective place to start is universal pre-K. And then my initial budget had about as much money as the Senate has to help child care with the challenges they face and to make that ultimate transition. Well, the federal subsidy, yes, but the child care industry has taken more hits. There is higher costs, certainly, more competitive wages that are out there, which overall is a good thing. So that $300 million ask is significantly beyond just the subsidies. But I don't question that child care is at an inflection point and the costs have gone up. But what we need to see is the flexibility from those groups to say, let's work with universal pre-K, let's find a way to make this all work, and let's justify all that state help by making this transition that's going to help more and more and more kids.
Yeah.
We're still reviewing it. Let me just say, since we're in Louisville today, what we'll be talking about is how our economy is booming. Now, number 3 and number 2 in economic development in back-to-back years. Just Louisville alone is up 93% over last year in terms of numbers of requests from companies looking at it, new locations, expansions, all together. It's what we're seeing all across the state. We just heard that the airport had their best year ever in 2023. We had our best year for exports ever in 2023. We had our best year for tourism ever in 2023. So it's a really exciting time to see our economy just exploding. And what that means is in this budget, we have to continue to invest in our program that works on site development and gets them to be build ready, on education where we desperately need those teacher raises, on water and sewer projects where we need more than is in the current budget, on career and technical renovations. But looking at the moment where we can be everything we've always wanted to be, a leading national economy, coming off the 3 biggest budget surpluses ever, it means we have the money to invest, to keep this thing going as long as we can. We've always wanted the best for Kentucky. We've never wanted to be a follower. We've always wanted to be that nationally leading economy. This is our best chance if we invest.
Senate Bill 3, which is the Fish and Wildlife Bill. It would remove it from your office and put it under the Ag Commissioner. And I think now it also affects the Horse Racing Commission. What's your thoughts on that?
It is yet another power grab that in its current form is unconstitutional. First, they did it to the Fair Board. That's been declared unconstitutional by the Court of Appeals. Now they're trying to do it to Fish and Wildlife as well as the Kentucky Horse Racing Commission. I mean, knock it off. Right? People don't want this constant back and forth. I'm trying to serve all the people of Kentucky. This is simply because I'm a Democrat and they're Republicans, and that's not how we should govern. No, I was the guy that helped get the votes to pass historic horse racing, to get sports betting passed. The Public Protection Cabinet provided the extra lawyers to get it up and running as fast as it has. Why mess with something that is working better right now than it has in a long time? And in terms of Fish and Wildlife, it's time for them to stop protecting leadership of what I think is the most corrupt part of state government, where commissioners are over a year past their terms. What happens is the sportsmen vote and send me the 3 top vote getters or the 5 top vote getters, and I pick one of the people that they have elected. And the Senate has refused to confirm them over and over. It's why every sportsman group in the state, and I think every national group, opposes this bill and thinks it's wrong. Okay, I'm using my hands a lot today. Yeah. Oh, I was going to say things about marketing to this.